Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 3 Victory Century Retranslated. It's a mouthful of a title, I know, but at the end of the day, it's what the game is called and how the game is presented. I'm going to be doing something a bit different for the rest of the series. At this point, I have caved into my own schedule issues and must now be forced to record this in a post-commentary manner. I know that the goal of this series was to have it be live and real-time reactions, but after a while, I realized that it's just not sustainable. Still, I do want to explain another point, and that is that because it is going to be post-commentary, the videos will be significantly of higher quality and of much better editing technique. Don't mistake this for a future instance wherein I upload smash cut ADHD targeted videos. No, I do not do that because that is not the kind of content that I want to produce. This is still going to be mostly long form Let's Play content, but now it is going to have significantly more effort into the creation of the video. In addition, I would like to point out that the one part that still will be the same is these stupidly long cutscenes. I am still trying to show off this game, and the cutscenes are possibly one of the few things that people play Neptunia for anymore. Do not mistake me, once you go into post-game and you're doing the non-cutscene, non-story related content, the gameplay is still great enough to carry it. But I will say that one of the things about Neptunia is that I find them to be really hard to replay, with the exception of Mark II and the original. Simply because a lot of these games are really good for the cutscenes by themselves. If not for the cutscenes, Neptunia would be a very bare-bones series. Don't get me wrong, on replays, I'll skip the cutscenes, but it's just not the same. Mind you, at this point, for Neptunia, I don't really play it for the writing anymore. I don't think the writing has been that good in a long time. The last time I thought the writing was good was V2, but even then, I would not classify it as great. The last great Neptunia for me was Mark II. Not the remake, but the original Mark II on the PS3. But the problem is, for the time being, recording off my PS3 is going to be a crapshoot. And I'm not going to be focused on that for quite a while. And even if I was focused on it, it would take more time to do so. Especially trying to get the footage and upload it to the PC. Still, I am very happy with how this series is going to turn out in the future. In a way, you could say that I have been inspired by the Sega Super Game concept, because there is going to be one issue, and that issue is that for the time being, I think what's going to happen is beginning in April, I will have less content being uploaded, but significantly better content than what I was uploading before. Before, I was uploading mostly for quantity's sake and not for quality's sake, because one thing that I did notice is that if you want your channel to have a lot of watch time, you need to have high quality content. But you also need to have a lot of content, otherwise your channel will die rather quickly. In other words, I would like to call this the split of the era. There was year 1, which was 1 video a day. There's year 2, which is a video every other day, but with higher production value. And now we're going into year 3, which is going to be, for the most part, videos when I upload, but they will be the best type of videos that I can upload with the current technology that I have access to. And now that we're out of the way with my explanation of the plans going with the channel in the future, we can now continue on to the game. We are now still in Lean Bucks, and we're viewing some optional DLC cutscenes. Admittedly, it's gotten to the point in this game where I feel a bit burned out by the cutscenes. As a matter of fact, I will say that the first 80 episodes of this Let's Play were some of the most fun I had on this channel, especially when reacting to story content. But now, I realize that Victory has one very glaring issue. And that very glaring issue is just how long these cutscenes are, and how little of them actually apply to the plot in any significant way. I am willing to bet that this CyberConnect and this 5PB cutscenes will never come back in terms of narrative relevance, outside of maybe some DLC content, and even then, I doubt it significantly. I mean, I have to give credit to Ayane, okay? Good voice, but that's really it. The performance as 5PB is really good. Same goes to the actress for CyberConnect 2. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're just hanging out with Vert. I get it. It's nice. But that's about it. I know it's gonna sound like I'm going to go into a more negative tone. Please know that I won't. In fact, I think this is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Just know that when you've been... let's say hypothetically, you've been on this game for over a year. Actually, I'm gonna look it up on my computer right now. When did I upload the first episode of Rebirth 3? Your videos. Search. Rebirth 3. Show all. I uploaded the first video of Rebirth 3 in February, meaning that it actually hasn't been a year. But it actually has been a year, considering the fact that I uploaded it on February 8th for the premiere. But the original day that I uploaded the video was probably back in August, because I am always significant time ahead. For example, this video will appear on... Oh my goodness, it'll appear way later than April. This video will appear on the 1st of May, but I'm currently recording this on the 8th of December. Just to let all of you know how crazy the scheduling is. Because I did want to be able to take significant breaks in the event that I got busy. But that's mostly it. I might actually, if I have time over Christmas break, dedicate some time to uploading non-game content, maybe some reviews, or just more fun content in general. But at the end of the day, for the most part, the Neptunia series will be here for quite a while. In addition, I want to look into doing some FPS games. I want to do Halo 2 and 3 for the channel. 2 games that I genuinely consider to be in the best shooters of all time category. I don't know about everyone else here, but I think Halo 2 and 3 are in the running for best shooters of all time. But that's just my opinion, and I don't know everyone else's opinion. This cutscene with 5PB and CyberConnect really does drag on for a lot longer than I anticipated. And maybe it's because I'm looking at Vert so much, but I really do just have some inclination to play Halo. And now we've gotten into something that I should have done sooner, but wasn't doing because it was live commentary. Speeding up the traversal. The traversal in this game is so slow on repeat viewage. But now that I've decided to speed it up, I realize that this is much more tolerable. I've been looking into some reviews of Compile Heart games by non-Compile Heart fans. And there is one thing that I notice all the time. Non-Compile Heart fans tend to not like Neptunia at all. But fans of Compile Heart products tend to be huge fans of this. And I realized that, obviously, Neptunia is a niche series. It's an acquired taste. It's different. But it is always interesting to me how the fan base of Neptunia will be giving these games 9s. and 10s. Okay, I've seen people review V2 and give it a 10. But then I give it to my friend who's just a fan of general JRPG. You know, Final Fantasy, Pokemon. Very, very basic, mainstream JRPG. And he hates this series completely. He cannot stand Neptunia at all. Do I blame him? No. This game is really a case of an acquired taste. Not everyone is like me and is willing to sit through hours and hours of cutscenes. I'm assuming if you've made it this far to episode 98, you are more than willing to sit through hours and hours of cutscenes of a video game. And here we have Mr. Bad, one of possibly the coolest villains. Rest in peace his voice actor. Seriously, rest in peace to his voice actor. But one of the coolest villains in this series. You know, part of me does wish for that open world Neptunia game. But then again, the whole trend of just making everything open world has gotten stale. But if not open world, then I would like a top-down 2D JRPG. Think of Pokemon, you know, classic era Pokemon. Think of Final Fantasy, once again. I think, or Super Mario RPG, which got re-released recently on the Switch. Which, by the time you see this, has been re-released for a lot longer. Wow. That's right. I was inspired by the Game Awards, which were yesterday, where Sega disclosed the concept of something called the Super Games. Apparently they're working on something called Quadruple A Games. You know, A Games. Sega. And they're going to be doing it for a lot of their big products. We got confirmation for Streets of Rage, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, and other big names from the Sega IP list. At the same time, though, I am questioning how this is going to work. Because it's called Super Game, which means who knows, but they do want it to be something that reinvents how games are made in the game industry, and I'm very curious to see what they mean by that. I really hope it's not just a marketing term. I really hope that it is closer to a promise, a kind of game that has never been seen before, but given they're bringing back a lot of older IP, I wonder how they're going to do it. I really do. Still, when I think about it, this is going to be a very interesting year for Sega. Not this year, but the next year. So the year that you're currently in, most likely. I am enjoying this series. I really am. I'm enjoying this series a lot more than I'm enjoying the Pokemon Violet series. So now you know when this was recorded. I think that the Pokemon Violet series is just that series that's gonna... It's gonna be one of the few times that I'm completely negative. But I will have an attempt at positivity. I will be praising the game. Look, I will not be playing Violet poorly intentionally. I will be playing Violet to the best of my ability. And the reason I bring that up is because, in other words, I'm playing multiple JRPG at once. I was playing Crystar, which is action JRPG, Kingdom Hearts 2 on PS3, action JRPG, Neptunia, which is turn-based JRPG, and Pokemon, turn-based JRPG. So I just have been inundated with these RPG that I want to branch out into a different genre of game. I think that shooter game, like Halo 2 and 3, would be perfect to go into. In addition, this plot point really does make the Neptunia cast out to be significant threats, and overall just not good people. You could argue that the Neptunia cast is mostly filled with bullies, because they are. Especially in the case of Plutia here. And now we're going to get into arguably one of the best boss fights in this game, the Mr. Bad boss fight. Only this is a 1 versus 8, so he's kind of screwed. You disgraces, I shall punish you. Here now. Sometimes I do like reading the text, because it is funny to me. I remember watching Lost Pause's Let's Play, when he did Rebirth 3 and he got here. He was like, family, you're being weird. Yeah, seriously, Vert. That is one thing about the Neptunia cast in this game. They really are not good people. And it demonstrates that. I've had my hot takes on the Neptunia cast before. Such as, I actually don't like most of the main cast anymore. As a matter of fact, of the main cast, the characters that I still like would include the English dub version of Neptune, every version of Nepgear, Kampa, Rom, and Histoire. All versions. Other than that, I can't say I'm into Neptunia for any other character. Admittedly, one thing that it does help is, if you're not a fan of Neptune, you can at least play the classic series because she's not the main series, because she's not the main character of the main series. The main series is dominated by Nepgear twice, Plutia once, and Uzume once. Other than that, there's no reason, to follow Neptune as the character. In addition, I think that for party members, this is going to be it for a long time, as these characters are the ones that I like using the most, but off-screen, I will just be grinding SP like crazy, because there is no reason for me to be going into all of these events with this low SP. And I do have to give credit to this game, compared to, say, V2. This game is a lot harder than most of the Neptunia games I played. I remember the Sega Hard Girls game back when I did next to no effort on the channel. I really didn't. I have to apologize to some people regarding some of my older series. The first series where I decided to take the content creation seriously was GTA 5. Which is funny because it was for a game I didn't really like. But it taught me a lot of things, and that I can still show off the game itself without, wasting everyone's time. This Mr. Bad fight really does cement that the CPUs are more than willing to hurt people without mercy. Okay? They were just told that these creatures were little girls, and they didn't care. They mercilessly, ruthlessly kill them. And Mr. Bad just, has to sit there and watch as the girls he tried to save, after performing experiments on them, mind you, were killed by the CPU. So even the bad guys have motivation for for hating the main cast. And I have to, on some level, respect this game's writing for that. We know why R4 Machikono hates the main cast. We know Warachu's motivation. Albeit, I hate to say this, but this game would be so much better without Abnus. Between Abnus and Maho, I think I'd still prefer Abnus, but Abnus is still really bad. Also, hot take, Maho is a terrible character. That is a take that I have said more than once, and people have gotten on me for that one. Specifically, friends of mine who play Neptunia, who aren't on YouTube.com, we just hang out. They really be questioning me for that one take. But that's just it. I saw the Game Awards last night, as I mentioned, and it's a shame that Baldur's Gate 3 won. Super Mario Wonder should have won that game of the year, but at least they won Family Game of the Year. And Zelda won awards too, so the people who deserved awards got awards anyways. I have no idea how Alan Wake 2 won Best Direction. There is no way they won that. But they did. I remember I was watching the live stream, and somebody in the comments said that somebody from the Baldur's Gate team must have sucked off Jeff Keighley or something, because there's no way they win all those awards on a game that I think only normies purchased. I don't know anybody who actually purchased Baldur's Gate 3. Not a single person I've known in my life has played it. But somehow it wins Game of the Year. Okay, guys. Okay. Now, this is going to be one of the times where I talk about something regarding Neptunia that might be a bit negatively perceived, and that is that the combat system in the base series is really good, but they don't have enough to use it with. Not counting Coliseum fights where you actually need to put significant effort into winning, except for Sisters vs. Sisters, which had the most boring Coliseum that I decided not to show it off at all. That's right. I didn't show off the Coliseum in SVS simply because I thought it was so boring. I showed some of it off, it was cool but not great. But that was the Mr. Bad fight. It was pretty good. It's one of the better bosses in this game. Albeit, bosses in this game are kind of weird to explain. Because a lot of the bosses in this game aren't very grand. It's not like Mark II or the original where the bosses were always cool. To me, at least to me, they were cool. I don't know about anyone else. But at the end of the day, that is one of the weak points of Victory and Rebirth 3, obviously. If you've played Victory, then this remake, I think it's a remake because it's not a port of the original, it's a remake, is not much different when compared to the original. Whereas Mark II and the original Neptunia are different from the Rebirth games, especially the first one, but Mark II as well, because they lowered the rating of it, for goodness sake. Still, it is very nice to play through this. From here, I need to hunt down some items for plans. So regarding story, I believe that this should be it for the video. All that's left now is to hunt down some items to get some more plans in order to unlock more of the requirements in order to obtain the true ending. Because I do want this to be a 100% true ending run. Regardless of how long this game is. Because this game is long. It is stupidly long. I'm dead serious. If you said I could only play one JRPG for the rest of my life that isn't Pokemon, it would probably be this game, Rebirth 3. Simply because there's so much content in it. Even just in the base game. No DLC required, this game is still one of the longest Neptunia games ever made. Okay? If you have the DLC, then Mr. Izawa will bless you and give you an even longer JRPG. And this is still a 100% playthrough, so, you know, look forward to this being on the channel for, honestly, this might be a series that lasts over a decade. Maybe over a decade, honestly, because at the rate I play this game, it might take that long. The way I've been doing this is I record, for now on, regarding the series, is I will play for 1 hour and whatever I accomplish will be turned into a video. I think that's just an easier way to manage the series. I know it sounds like I'm mostly talking technical terms for this episode, but in my defense, this is because this episode will represent a change in how I do the Let's Plays for this game specifically. I'm also looking forward to some horror games like Me-Side and getting jump scared. Super scary. Supposedly. Maybe. Who knows? And you never know where life's gonna take you. I don't know where I'll be in May of next year, but that's when this episode will come out. Most likely I'll be working, so that'll also kill more time, because at that point I won't just be working more, I'll also be in process of getting the experience to take the CPA exam and obtain the certificate. Because remember, I have no intention of making YouTube my full-time job. YouTube is the definition of a hobby for me. It is just something that I do for fun, and I respect people who do this as a living. They clearly put more effort into this, which is why they have more subscribers than I do, and that makes sense. Not to say that I don't put effort significantly, I definitely put effort and I learn as I go. And while I have been given the opportunity to copy templates, I just haven't done so. And now for this section, we only have one last thing to do, and that is defeat this enemy. Mostly to prove that I can do it. A lot of times in this series, you'll find me fighting giant enemies that realistically are optional. For example, this boss fight here is 100% optional. You never have to fight this guy, by my knowledge. And because of that, it has made it so that I know where I am in context of the game. The reason I go out of my way to fight these giant monsters is simply so that I can demonstrate to all of you where the characters that I am playing as stand in context to the rest of the game. Because while I am mostly using the main game characters with the exception of Jinguchi K, because Jinguchi K actually has a really good moveset and I respect her for that, I have characters that I like, and since Neptune, Plutia, and Nepgear tend to be the big focal point of the game, I like playing as them the most. I do have the other 3 characters in the back as backup in the event that I need them, but other than that, it's likely that they won't come up. This boss fight here really does, Alnair, demonstrate how long the fights are. And here I'm going to be implementing a feature, and that'll be if a fight goes for too long and is not story relevant, but I do want to show it off, I'll introduce the speed up function. Just to show off even more how ridiculous some of these enemies are in this game. But with the enemy defeated, that is going to be it for this episode. I would like to thank all of you so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed.